Most business owners are drowning in some type of dashboards and they still don't know why they're losing customers somewhere between hello and here's my money. So you've got dashboards full of numbers, conversion rates, open rates, scroll rates, all the different rates that are telling you what people are doing, but you're still asking the same question. Why aren't they buying or why aren't they staying? It's not because you're bad at business. I promise you that. It's because you're looking at the data like it's the whole story. And numbers are a great starting point, but they are just part of the battle. I'm going to break down how to understand where you're losing your customers in two parts. First part we're going to discuss are the numbers. That's the what of the data. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the basics and not to insult your intelligence, but the numbers. Those are quantitative data. I know you probably heard it somewhere in high school. These are the metrics that's telling you what's happened, like conversion rates, drop-off rates, churn rates, all these different rates we have going on. And don't get me wrong, they are very important. Like if your churn rate goes from 10 to 30%, you know that's a red flag. It's like, hey, look at me, something is happening within your business. But here's the kicker. The numbers only tell you what's happening. They don't tell you why it's happening. You know I got to give you 10,000 examples just to make sure I drive this home. Let's say your sales dropped 15%. Bear with me now, but I know you're thinking 15. I know you. Anyway, but was it your pricing? Was it your messaging? Was it the landing page? That's the information that you need to be able to improve your customer journey and your customer experience. Maybe they didn't like your product, or maybe they just didn't want to hang with you anymore. But we need to figure those things out. You know, I like to give you real world experiences too. So every morning when I get up, I check the weather. I like to know what the temperature is going to be like. And if I just look at the temperature and I know, and it tells me, hey, let's say in the wintertime, because we're up here in Maryland, and it tells me it is 32 degrees outside. I know 32 is cold, but then there's other factors that goes into it. Is it 32 with the wind chill that's making it feel like 15? Those things are what help you make a better decision on whether you need to put on a trench coat or maybe you just need to stay in the house. And that's where qualitative data comes in, which is part 2 of what we need to get into when we're discussing customer journeys and how to improve them. So let's dig into part 2, the why. This is where most businesses stopped. They collect the numbers, they have it all on nice, pretty dashboards. They got the red, the green, the yellow, the warning signs, and they're just sitting there staring at it like, I don't know where it's going to sprout a mouth and say, hey, this is why it's happening. It's not going to do that, unfortunately. But qualitative data, that's where we find out the why. Remember, quantitative tells us what, and qualitative tells us why. So what are some qualitative data things that you can find out in your business? Those customer interviews, those testimonials, those voice sentiment when you're doing those support calls, those words or emotions that come up in those different surveys, patterns in how people describe working with you. It's the emotions, the tone, and the feelings behind customer behavior. So let me give you a quick example because you know I'm full of those. So we talked about churn rate. Let's say your churn rate is 30%. That's quantitative. But when you look deeper, you find out that in the survey, 70% of those people that took the survey mentioned the word confusion or confusion on what happens next. Now you know it's not that they just don't want your product anymore or that it sucks. It was the confusion that made them feel like, hey, there was some clarity issues around buying this product. You see the difference? Numbers raise the red flag, and then you get that qualitative information that gives you a starting point. So now let's bring it all together. Let's turn this data into some decision-making points. Ready? So this is my favorite part of all the data because you know I'm a data girl. So here's what happened when you use both. Numbers and narratives, they're not enemies. They are not. They are teammates, they are partners, but they have to be used in the right order. Now, I know that you probably already got your Google Analytics already set up. You're looking at your open rates on whatever kid Flowdesk, whatever you're using for your email marketing, you're looking at all this information. So you have the numbers already, but you need to start looking at that qualitative piece too. First, start with the numbers. Like I said, you already got it. They tell you what's changing. They tell you people not opening your emails anymore. They tell you people are dropping off. They are telling you that support tickets are increasing. They're telling you everything you need to know, all the red flags. And then I want you to dig into the narrative. They tell you the why. What words are customers using? Are they sighing? Are their tone changing? Look at those different things and how those emotions are showing up in those different pieces. And then you take aligned action. You're able to fix the problem. So if your churn rate is about confusion, start looking at the clarity piece. If the sales are dropping because messaging missed, work on your copy. If tickets spiked from frustration, now it's time to figure out what's going on.